I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. I've got two really impressive micro quadcopters on my bench right now. One of them is the Diatone GT-R90, and one of them is the Emax Babyhawk-R. And you know, when I started planning this review, I thought I was going to tell you which one was best, and I thought I knew. But the more time I've spent with them, the more I've come to realize they're both amazing. And it's really just a question of which one is right for you. And I'm going to help you figure it out. Stay tuned. Folks, this review is a great example of how sometimes what seems like the worst possible thing that could have happened actually turns out to be the best. Because I've actually recorded this whole review already. And I rushed to record this review before I left for Quad Camp. And then I went to Quad Camp. And when I arrived at the Airbnb, I was getting ready to record another video. And I always clean off my SD cards before I record so I can keep it helps me organize my footage. But I forgot to offload the footage of this review. And I deleted it all. I deleted it. And I was like, geez, I got to go re-record it. Oh, what an idiot. And then something amazing happened. The guys at Quad Camp we were kind of rained out. It was raining. We got to fly a little bit, the 5 inches, but mostly we were flying indoors. And so we were flying tiny whoops and micros, and the GT-R90 just caught everybody's imagination. I don't know why, but it's like 5 people ended up buying a GT-R90, and we were flying the dickens out of them. It culminated in that 2 tables power loop video. That I posted earlier. I put a link to it in the upper right. But I got to fly both of these guys, not just the GT-R90, so much more. And I got to see other people enjoy them. And I got to try out a few different, the stock props that came on the GT-R90 are not doing it any favors. I got to try out some much better props, tell you more about that. And wow. I know these quadcopters so much better than I did when I recorded that video, and I am so ready to tell you guys, do a way better review. Let me just tell you, first of all, these are the stock props that come with the Diatone GT-R90, and if you get this quad, throw them out and get yourself some of these Avans. They are amazing. The Avans in the 5-inch size, I think, need a specific application to really make them work, but on the micro size, wow, a specialized prop like this was just incredible and really improved the handling and performance of this quadcopter immensely. Okay, in fact, when I first flew this quad, I was just not that impressed. Like, as long as you kind of stayed within its envelope, it was okay. But as soon as you try to fly it a little more aggressively, and as soon as the goal with these guys is that you can kind of forget that you're flying a 2-inch and fly it like a 5-inch. It's not going to be as fast or as powerful, but you could still you don't have to constantly keep reminding yourself to rein it in. And on the stock props, that was my experience with the GT-R90. But with these Avan props, man, this thing just woke up and flew amazing. So let me get to what you guys really want to see, which is the flight footage, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the specs and which one should you get. But bear in mind when you're watching the flight footage that the GT-R90 is on the Avan 4-blade props, not the stock props that come with it, which you should just throw out. Okay. Ever since I started flying micros, people have been saying, try this one. It flies just like a 5-inch. You'll love it. And I never have. And these guys come... I mean, I went right from flying the Babyhawk at the park that day to flying my 5-inch Chameleon. And the Chameleon was faster. It was less maneuverable, of course, because it's bigger and heavier. It didn't corner as sharp. But at the end of the day, I felt like I was having a very, very similar flight experience. And that's really saying something. That's saying a lot. I was flying them on 3S. I still haven't flown these guys on 4S. I don't even know what, I don't even know. So these guys both fly great. There's always room for little improvements in the tune, but I mean, that's true of any quadcopter. There's just, they fly great. Okay, enough said about that. Let's talk about their specs then. And the good news is the specs actually make it kind of easy for you to pick which one you're going to want to get, because one of them is much better spec than the other and a little more expensive. One of them is a little bit worse specs, not bad, but just a little worse and a little bit cheaper. So you kind of can't go wrong whichever one you get. Just pick your price point and go. We'll start with the Diatone GT-R90. Now this one has the F4 processor. It has a 32 kilohertz gyro. So as Betaflight 3.3 comes out and you start wanting to do the fancy schmancy 32 kilohertz Kalman filtering, yada, 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 you will have the option of doing that. It's got 128 megabits of built-in data flash memory for black box logging if you're a black box nerd like me, so you're good to go there. It's got a built-in current sensor, and this is really cool. The current sensor is actually installed on the XT30. So a lot of times these very small quads just don't have room to put a shunt resistor and a current sensor on there. In this case, they've very cleverly put it on the XT30. This is something, I mean, Diatone could just sell this as an aftermarket part for the microquad market. Maybe they already are, but this is a really cool little innovation here. Now, it's pretty hard for me to show you this on camera, but you'll have to take my word for it that inside here, at the bottom of this stack, in this little I guess 3D printed or injection molded plastic holder, is a legit TBS Unify. And the real, 800 milliwatts. It can go up to 800 milliwatts. Now, I don't know why you would need to do that on a teeny tiny little quad like this, but hey, if you want to make the most of this little dipole antenna, blast it with 800 milliwatts and you'll get all the range you could possibly want. And of course, it also has smart audio, so you can do VTX remote control. You can change your channels, your transmit power from your OSD or from your Lua scripts, whatever you like. Here then is the Babyhawk-R, and it's the one with the slightly lower specs. So this one has an F3 processor. It's actually got the Emax Magnum stack in it. The F3 processor and an MPU 6000 gyro. And what that means is it's the good noise-free gyro. But noise, vibration, electrical noise usually isn't as much of a problem on these teeny tiny quads anyway. And so it only goes up to 8 kilohertz. And that means that if there's some new fancy schmancy 32 kilohertz magic that comes out someday in the future, this guy isn't going to do it. On the other hand, with the lack of vibration and electrical noise in these tiny quads anyway, I wonder how much benefit you're really going to see from 32 kilohertz sampling. My gut feeling is that you're more likely to see benefits on larger quads, but I've been surprised and wrong before, so who knows? You may want to hedge your bets for the future. This little guy doesn't have black box logging, and I don't think it has current sensing, but yeah, so I just went and confirmed it. I know it didn't say on the product page that it had current sensing, but sometimes product pages are wrong. So I just double checked the DVR, and the DVR also doesn't show any current, like amps or milliamp hours. So this guy doesn't have current sensing. You're only going to be flying with voltage sensing, which is fine, but current sensing is nice. But then current sensing on a micro, 12 amps, big deal. Then again, having a milliamp hour readout for your batteries is nice, even if they're small batteries. So that's up to you. Another thing this guy is missing, and this is the one that really chaps my hide, is it's missing VTX remote control, smart audio. You have to push button the VTX. So you can see right here it's nice that you got a visible readout here that you can see from the outside of your band and your channel, but you're going to be getting in there trying to push a button with a whatever to change channels. And in this day and age, I'm just super annoyed. I mean, the Emax Magnum stack, it's an integrated stack. So why the heck would you not put that in there? And I know why, right? You didn't have the technology ready. Get it. There's no excuse in this day and age to sell an integrated stack of video transmitter that doesn't have VTX remote control. I'm just going to keep saying that until all the manufacturers get on board. And hopefully Emax, hey, they probably are already doing it. But at least today, the Babyhawk-R does not have VTX remote control. You got to get in there and push button it. Now, between the two, I've got to hand it to the Emax for looks. The Emax just looks cool. You pull it out of your bag or whatever, and people see it, and it kind of looks like a beetle or something. I don't know. It just looks awesome, and I dig that. And it's really easy to get in and maintain, although it has this nice plastic. This thing is really solid. It's really durable. It feels durable anyway. And you just take these two screws out, and it just lifts right up if you need to get in there for any kind of maintenance or anything like that. So that's really good. I would have said that the GT-R90 was less durable, but we beat the dickens out. You can see it's beat up. The receiver doesn't have any antennas on it. We beat the dickens out of it at Quad Camp doing the power loops, and nothing on it broke. Literally nothing broke. I will say that the prop guards gave up the ghost pretty darn quick. This is not a tiny whoop where you can just bounce off the wall and keep going. This thing is fast enough and powerful enough that you're going to break. I broke the prop guards on like the second flight session. I broke one of the prop guards in a crash, and of course I replaced it. But then when we got into the power loop tutorial, tutorial's not the right word for it, the power loops at Quad Camp, they just got beat to dickens instantly, and I just got a diagonal cutter and cut them off to get them out of the way. I would say that if you get this quad, I would fly it in an area where you don't need prop guards and take the prop guards off. If you're flying in an area where you need prop guards, you're going to need to really dial it back in terms of your aggressiveness, because the prop guards are just going to die. It does come with some spare parts, so that's nice, but you're just going to churn through them. And the problem was they got bent up and they got in the way of the props. Anyway, it wasn't great. The final thing that differentiates these guys is the motors. The Babyhawk-R comes with 1106 6000 kV motors. The Diatone GT-R90 comes with 1104 6000 kV motors. So the GT-R90 is a little smaller. The GT-R90 never felt underpowered to me, and if it did, I'd just go from 3S to 4S, and then it would kick butt. But I did feel like the Babyhawk was just a little bit more powerful and faster, all else being equal. So if that's the number one thing you care about, the Babyhawk might be the choice for you. On the other hand, the Diatone, as you can see, is clearly better spec'd. F4 processor, 32 kHz, black box, and a TBS Unify. So then the question is, how much more do you pay for that? And the answer is the Diatone GT-R90 is about $170. That is the receiver ready version. It doesn't have a receiver. You put your own receiver on it. And the Babyhawk-R is about $140. So you're paying $30 more, and honestly, I mean, $30 is practically the TBS Unify alone is worth $30. Never mind all the other stuff you get. So I feel like the Diatone edges out the Babyhawk here in terms of it's going to be easier to use on a day-to-day basis. You're not going to because it's got VTX remote control, but it's got slightly smaller motors, and it's just a little bit less performance in terms of that. So there you go. And then it's just a question of which one you want to get. Or, and you guys are going to fill the comments up with other, there's some other sort of China special quadcopters that maybe aren't quite on this level of quality, but they're coming in at like the $80, $90 price range. And I want to review some of those too, but at some point, I get this paralysis where I'm like, oh, I got to get this product in the review. I got to get that product in the review. And then I never get the freaking review out. So I decided to just cut bait and get this one out. These two quads, either of these they're both fantastic. The performance level on these little guys is finally coming to a point where I can honestly say that you almost start to forget that you're flying a micro, and you can really just kind of let loose and fly and have fun. So, wow, fantastic. Looking forward to reviewing more of these guys. And yeah, don't worry, guys. I haven't forgotten big quads either, but you know me, I get into something and I get really into it. So we're going to be seeing more minis and micros too. That's going to do it for this video, though. If you have any questions, if you feel like there's anything I've overlooked, or if you just want to say hi, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, put it down in the comments. I'll answer your comments as always. Thank you for watching. Happy flying.